We live in a world that loves to categorize and label and sort into boxes, right? Which can make a lot of sense since our brains, well, they learn to understand and to navigate the world by making associations. So, furry, tail, 4 dogs, bark equals dog, right? These are things that I look for, put in this category, I associate them, and that helps me know what this thing is. But as we all probably know and have experienced, this categorization thing, this association and putting into a box kind of thing, it can backfire. When we start categorizing too broadly or too swiftly, when we start making sweeping generalizations, like I got bit by a mean dog, so all dogs are now unsafe and terrifying, right? That sweeping generalization, that association, that makes sense. But when they become too apt to come up and cause judgment about people, especially, but even about places and things, it backfires. These kinds of sweeping generalizations are often based in fear. And although sometimes, even though they're not based in fear, every so often, if they're not based in fear, then they're often based in something that's like outdated information or inaccurate information. And so these sweeping generalizations, they're then taught to us. And they're embedded in our society as decision makers bring their sweeping generalizations into the work that they do and the decisions that they make and the relationships that they create. It happens sometimes on purpose, but oftentimes just as default. It's their default way of seeing the world, of thinking. They're not thinking about what they're thinking about. It just is. It's automatic. It's default, right? And so as a result, we go on to perpetuate the sweeping generalizations without even realizing it. They get passed down from system to system, generation to generation. Dog example. Grandma was petrified of dogs because she got bit by one as a child. So mom was taught to fear dogs so that mom wouldn't get bit. And now I'm scared of dogs too. Hypothetical example. It got passed down generation to generation. And so even without intending to, biases get baked into our relationship patterns, our systemic setups, our rules, our laws, our reactions as parents, as partners, as professionals, our way of being and seeing. And so we have to look at those things, those biases, those patterns, those sweeping generalizations, those categories that we were taught, those labels that we've bought into, those boxes that we've pushed ourselves or others to fit into. We've got to get uncomfortable and vulnerable and bold enough to identify those hidden default modes so that we can do something intentionally and effectively about them. I'm Black and I'm white. I have been racially stereotyped by both Blacks and whites. I was a young single mom. And I'm now a married woman of a blended family. I have 4 children. And I earned my PhD by the age of 30. I'm a stay-at-home mom. And I'm also a business owner. I'm a licensed mental health psychotherapist. And I've had my own history of mental health challenges. I help others heal their traumas. And I'm committed to my own unending healing journey and getting vulnerable with my own traumas. I'm an avid life student of science and psychology. And I'm also a lifelong learner and believer in the power and truth of energy, of soul, and of God as a loving life force. I'm paradoxical in many ways. Boxes that I quote unquote should fit in don't align with these other boxes that fit with the labels that are put on me. It's not all able to be identified in a rigid way. We're not all able to be categorized in a rigid way. I am a multifaceted human being, and in your own ways, so are you. We're complex and different, and yet we're connected and similar all at once. And it's time that we start taking the experiences that we've had as individuals, as a people, as a nation, as a world, and we choose the vulnerable, bold path of healing, because it is the best way forward. And there is no going back.